Are you currently in the process of rebuilding your credit and you don't know what steps to take? Well, in this video, we'll be covering this. I'll be giving you some options on what you can do to actually start the rebuilding process of your credit. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I'm located here in Montreal, Quebec. I operate a credit repair business that helps Canadians in every province. If you need assistance with your credit, you can always give us a call, 438-803-1002, or you can email us info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. So we'll go ahead and get started. In the beginning, you may have a fairly low credit score, and the way that most people find out that their credit score is not great is they may go out to the market and they may shop for a product such as an auto loan. So you may be trying to get a vehicle, a new vehicle, used, whatever it may be, and you may be trying to finance that vehicle. But it's not until that finance manager at the dealership comes back and lets you know that, hey, your credit is not sufficient enough for you to get financing for the car that you're looking at. This is usually when people start finding out, or maybe it's the same situation with the mortgage, right? The mortgage broker may tell you we're having a difficult time getting you a lender or B lender, right? And so those interest rates or the options that you have are pretty much slim to none, or you may be stuck with a high interest rate if you were to go through and get a mortgage. So credit can be a way to save you a bunch of money, thousands of dollars on interest if you're looking to purchase a high ticket asset such as a property or a depreciating asset such as a vehicle, right? So credit or having great credit is a very important thing. So what we'll do is we'll talk about that. Now, in the beginning, the most important thing is that you have access to your credit report or your credit scores. Here in Canada, we have two credit bureaus, first being Equifax and the second being TransUnion. If you do not want to pay for these platforms because they both require you to pay, there's free platforms, third-party platforms that will give you access to your scores. So first is Borrowwell. That's going to give you access to your Equifax score, and then the second is going to be Credit Karma. You can also use ClearScore, but I typically lean more towards Credit Karma because they've been around a little bit longer. Credit Karma will also give you access to your TransUnion score. So you want to ensure that you have access to both. The reason why you want to have access to both is because you do not know which credit bureau that lender is going to pull from. And in a lot of situations, lenders may pull from both credit bureaus. So we want to ensure that our credit scores are doing great with both credit bureaus. And that goal score that we want to get to in the beginning is at least a 680 with no derogatory remarks. So when you first get access to both of your credit scores between Equifax and TransUnion, you're checking to see if you're above a 680. Okay, even if you are at a 680 plus, we want to make sure that we don't have any derogatory remarks. Now, if you get access to your credit score and you see that you're below a 680, there may be derogatory remarks affecting your credit. The first section you always want to check as soon as you get access to your credit report is the public records section. The public records section houses if you have any collection accounts, any judgments, any other type of consumer loan, anything that could be derogatory affecting your credit. Maybe you've had a bankruptcy or a consumer proposal that can also reflect in the public records section. So we always want to check this section first because typically these items have the most impact on our credit score. Next to this, if you don't have anything there, then you want to go ahead and check your closed account section of your credit report. You may have closed accounts that have been written off as tax write-offs that have negative derogatory ratings. They may have a 9 code, so you may see something along the lines of an R9, an I9, or an O9. Typically, anything ending with a 9 lets us know that that account has been written off, closed as a tax write-off by that original creditor, and typically there's a lot of late payments tied to and associated with that account. So again, this is something that we want to check for. If you have any one of these issues, then that's what we're going to want to address. So whether you're speaking with the creditor directly or you're going through the disputing process because you may not recognize those derogatory accounts that you see on your credit report. Both are fine, but you have to be proactive in your approach because if you were to do nothing with any of these accounts, then you're stuck waiting 7 years for these negative derogatory accounts to age off of your credit report. Now, in the meantime, what a lot of people forget to do alongside with the disputing process and trying to clear up those negative remarks on their credit report is to get themselves a tool that's going to allow them to rebuild their credit. So many people start this journey of fixing their credit and they don't have an active credit card. And they miss out on so many opportunities for them to rebuild their credit. We have to understand how a credit score is built. Okay, so 30% of that is utilization and 35% of that is payment history. So if you don't have an active credit card, you're missing out on 65% of you being able to improve your credit. So the best tool for you to get in the beginning is a secured credit card. So I always lean towards Capital One. And ever since I've been in this business, Capital One has been my heavyweight favorite, mainly because they give you the most opportunity to get a fresh start, and for you to kind of bounce back once you're done using Capital One. So the reason why I like to lean more towards Capital One than other secure credit card providers is that one, we know that they report both to Equifax and to TransUnion. On top of this, you can start with as little as anywhere between $300 to $500 as a initial security deposit. The deposit that you place with Capital One is going to reflect and be your credit limit. In the beginning, you do not need to use this card. We just want a card that has a credit limit, reporting to our credit report, and reporting positive payment history every single month. This is all we care about in the beginning. On top of that, you can place further deposits with that Capital One secure credit card to increase its credit limit. Now, there is going to be a limit to how much you can place as a security deposit. I believe at the time when I initially started, it was around $2,500, somewhere around in that range. But you want to get to that point with that card. So let's say we built this card up to $2,500 in secure deposits. We'll stay here. We'll keep our utilization below 10%. And then we'll continue to do this while we're disputing those negative derogatory accounts that we have on our credit report. Eventually, Capital One is going to graduate you from that secured credit card. And this is where Capital One really kind of takes the lead above other secured credit card options, in my opinion. As soon as you graduate from Capital One, they are going to send you that deposit back. Typically, they will send you that in a check. So you'll receive a check to your physical address, and then you'll have the deposit that you placed for that card back in cash. So let's say you get that card up to $2,500, you are now getting that $2,500 back. On top of that, Capital One will graduate you from that secure credit card and upgrade you to an unsecured credit card. Now, everyone always asks, well, how long does this process take? It is up to Capital One, and they will make that graduation process happen once they see that they feel you are a good candidate to take on an unsecured credit card. And the reason why this happens is because when you're placing that security deposit, your capital is at risk. But as soon as they upgrade you to an unsecured card, Capital One is now taking on that risk. So Capital One is literally playing the role of the bridge from helping you go from not having the best credit and not being a trustworthy person to lend to getting you back to the point. And usually they're the first person to trust you to give you an unsecured credit card. This is why, again, I highly lean towards Capital One. So once you graduate, that's a pretty good indication that you may have favorable odds with other lenders. That does not mean that you should be going out at this point and applying with a bunch of different banks. But again, you know you're on the right track once Capital One decides to upgrade you to their unsecured option. So again, let's say you went ahead, you placed a deposit, you build it up to $2,500. The whole time you've been having a secured credit card, you've been disputing removing those negative derogatory accounts off of your credit report. Capital One decides to graduate you to their unsecured option. You get that $2,500 back. And on top of that, you now have unsecured $2,500. In total, that's $5,000. Now, typically when Capital One upgrades you to their unsecured option, they give you an additional credit. Let's just say, for example, they give you an additional $1,000. That unsecured credit card is, let's just say they give you an additional 1,000. That'll be around $3,500. And then on top of that, you've already received your $2,500 back. So again, this is why Capital One can be a favorable option for you to start rebuilding your credit. Now, usually when you're at this point, because Capital One has upgraded you, you probably no longer have any other derogatory accounts because again, they need to see you as no longer being a risk to lend to. So usually that's why it's important that while you're dealing with that secured credit card, you're also disputing and remove those negative derogatory accounts. So again, this is a great way for you to rebuild your credit. If you're in the journey or in the process of rebuilding your credit, I highly recommend you take these steps. You start the disputing process, you get access to your credit report, you remove those derogatory accounts, but at the same time, you have yourself a secure credit card that you're building a relationship with, you're growing with, That way it can help you bridge that gap to go ahead and start recreating a relationship with the top 5 banks here in Canada. Okay, if you really appreciated this video, it would do mean a lot if you would like and comment on the video. If you want to get in contact with us, you can email us info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. You can also give us a call Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, 438-803-1002. And until next time, peace.